Hi guys, another update for you on how it's going out here in the shop. I've been working a lot on the woman's sculpture I showed you guys before, and it probably doesn't look like I've got very far, but believe me, this is after multiple eyes, cheeks, noses, mouths have been kind of made and discarded here. This has been a funny one to work on. I've had this in my head for a really long time. And before I even started making it, it was kind of a sculpture about loss to me. I think that's just a really universal thing that a lot of people go through. We lose people, we lose relationships. It's just kind of part of the cycle of life, and can be a real tough thing to get through. So my original conception of this sculpture was kind of depicting, that kind of that grief of that inevitable loss everybody has to face on some level. And I had this whole, body positioning and facial expression and everything worked out, and they were going to be like birds kind of bursting out of the chest, almost like a reverse shotgun blast kind of a thing. And I don't know, it just, even though I think that would be an authentic way to express that, I just kind of didn't really want to go there with it. It sounds weird if you're not an artist, but when you're making a piece like that, you really kind of invest your own emotional energy into it as you're working, and I kind of didn't want to stay in that place for that length of time it would take to complete a sculpture like that. But this is still on my mind. It's still something that's been very real for me in the last year, and I'm driven to do this. But something kind of clicked this week as I was working with this face and trying to figure out, like, who is this woman going to really be, and what is it I want people to, feel or whatever when they're looking at her. And it clicked one day, like, okay, the whole grief thing, losing, people, losing relationships, all that, everybody goes through that, and there is that whole pain aspect of it. But once you make it through that, or maybe while you're in the process of that, even another aspect of that is release. And that's kind of like the healthy end of it. Like, yeah, when you feel like something's getting torn away from you, yes, that's horrible. Nobody likes that. But if you can get to a point where you feel like you are releasing it, then you can get back to your strength. And so that's the side of this that I want to depict, is the, it's always kind of a sad thing, but also that kind of like inner strength of like knowing, even though this is tough, you're going to be fine. I'm always saving like pictures and stuff to inspire me. And this was one I saved a long time ago. This woman here, isn't she cool? Anyway, so she's kind of my muse now for this, just to get that feeling across of like looking towards the future, acknowledging that you're maybe letting something go, but you know what? It's part of life. It's part of the process. It's going to be fine. It'll make room for new things, maybe. Anyway, so that's the artsy part of what I've been doing. The other project I've been working on is this one, which you can see I've removed the decal and started the rusting process, and it's actually really pissing me off because I do not like this discoloration that's happening, and I don't even know if you'll be able to see this, but all this wrinkly stuff is bad news. That is an indication that the paint is not adhering to the steel. It's adhering to itself in layers, but it is actually pulled off of the bottom layer of the steel. So basically I have no idea what's going to go on with this piece. It may wind up being where I just keep rusting this stuff. So when I finally deal with this paint and remove it, maybe there'll be this thicker rusty buildup that I can then start over again with my color washing. I just don't know. Some of this has turned out really cool. Like I like this moon, you know, aspect of it. I don't know. Basically that one I'm just gonna have to put aside for now and deal with later. I really need to make some progress on this woman, and now that I've figured out who she is and I'm getting her face and head dialed in, this probably still looks really bad. They look way better once you get hair going on them, like everybody. Anyway, I just really need to make some progress on some of these bigger pieces, and since that one's being a complication, I'm just gonna have to come back to it later. So that's what's going on here. Thanks for checking in. See you later.